As regards the City Council Resolution 23-255, well, to the uninitiated, it may appear commendable on the part of the Honolulu City Council. It is, in fact, just another smokescreen. This harkens back to the principle of law regarded as bad fruit. Nothing originating from bad fruit can be asserted to be legally acceptable if we do not, in fact, address the scene of the crime, the events and the evidence of the initial illegal infraction. In short, they would have us believe that they support the nation of Hawaii, an ethnic racial divide, as opposed to a country, the Hawaiian Kingdom, which was in fact and is in fact illegally occupied by the United States government. In 1933, one scholar observed, Hawaii offers opportunity to the people of all races on terms that approach uncommonly close to equity. Responding to opportunity, the peoples are entering upon a larger social inheritance, one that may look forward to an enrichment of this heritage through the achievement of men and women of all races. Commendable. But 40 years later, the sentiments change. In our community, there is more pain than we admit, and more than we tend to show the outside world. Hawaii mourns the loss of their culture and their land. New immigrants, Filipinos, Southeast Asians, African Americans suffer daily indignities. The Japanese remember the bitterness of their plantation days and their internment on the West Coast. Haoles, the white people, speak of being held accountable and demonized for the events not of their making. How can we right unrightable wrongs, such as the 1893 overthrow? Neither observation negates the fact that Hawaii's first peoples welcomed with considerable aloha those who were once outsiders. It is both ironic and tragic that most native Hawaiians have become increasingly marginalized and culturally dominated in their own land. These are quotes. Yet this year alone, hundreds of millions was given to CNHA for the advancement of the native Hawaiian, capital N, capital H position, one that would have us identified as a Native American tribe under the trust of the United States Department of Interior, previously identified as the Department of War. Agents of this effort would claim at a convention in Las Vegas that in fact Native Hawaiians' future capacity is directly linked with the ninth island, flying in the face of the obvious facts. Nevada, Las Vegas, is neither an island nor related to the Pacific, Moana, in any way other than as gambling junkets and economic stimulation. The inflation data sourced from the Bureau of Labor Statistics is that over the past 100 years, the United States federal debt has increased from $404 billion in 1928 to $33.17 trillion in 2023. In 1893, the U.S. tries to pretend it was not present or part of the illegal overthrow. However, photography had gone afield in 1860, and so photographs can disprove this position. In 1898, after the Spanish-American War, America claims Hawaii as part of the spoils of war. However, Hawaii was never part of the Spanish Empire. In the 1950s, the United States, assisting with the establishment of the United Nations, hurriedly creates a path to U.S. domination yet again by putting to vote two options: remain a territory of the United States or become a state. The vote takes place on 1958, just before the 1960 UN General Assembly adopted the Declaration on Granting Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples, Resolution 1514, also known as the Declaration on Decolonization. And as a salt in the wound, only U.S. citizens were allowed to vote. In the 1960s and 70s, every effort was made by the United States to cloud this information, to hide the simple fact that we must return to the scene of the crime, January 17th, 1893. There are many heirs to the monarchs of Hawaii, but there is always only one designated successor. That line still exists and is being ignored and arguably injured by these repeated attempts to cloud the issue. We have been subjugated to propaganda from the United States since the late 50s, beginning with, no less, a television show that featured a private investigator, a Hawaiian eye, Robert Conrad, and Connie Stevens fighting crime in Hawaii, broadcasted across the United States, followed by a government investigator, Hawaii Five-0, appointed by the governor of Hawaii to, you guessed it, fighting crime across Hawaii, followed by a sexy private investigator living in a swanky home now occupied by the 44th president, one Magnum PI. And wouldn't you know it, he was fighting crime across Hawaii. Followed by a reboot of Hawaii Five-0, where this time the hero is a naval officer, an NIS officer who fights crime across Hawaii. Followed by the reboot of Magnum PI, where this time Magnum is a retired naval NIS officer. So thanks to the United States Navy, we can be free of crime in Hawaii. They continue to poison our water and their own people on their own military bases and move their bases to more climate-ready environments. Yeah, this is going to be a real problem. This disingenuousness which some of our native Hawaiians, capital N, capital H, community engages in for financial benefit with what we could describe as the occupying enemy nation, is from one perspective heinous, rife with ethnic racism, and bent on employing the islands and emptying the islands of its actual population, replacing us with more affluent citizens, more compliant to the wishes of the military-industrial complex. But thanks for recognizing a toothless apology bill crafted 30 years ago, as opposed to demanding real resolution for a crime that took place 130 years ago. That should serve as a call for all Hawaiians across the 48 states to return to Hawaii, to help us build community, to address the injustices, and to secure our land, not just a portion of it like a reservation, such as in Waimea or Waimanalo, but rather all of it. He Maupopo e Hawaii au. One day, you will understand. You are Hawaii.